Hey, welcome everybody. It is Friday, right? It is 4 p.m. Pacific, kinda. It is time for Pathfinder Friday. Today, we're deconstructing Doomsday Dawn because we just finished Chapter 6. And to do that, we've got none other than our very own Stephen Radney-MacFarland is in the house.
Woohoo!
Stephen, welcome.
Thanks. Always a pleasure to spend time with you, Dan, even when you screw things up.
That was natural. I don't know what you're talking about. That was edited out. No one even saw that. We're all good. So anyway, Stephen, thank you so much. Great job last 2 weeks. We're going to get into the big finale of that chapter.
Oh,
in a
we
little
will.
bit. But in the meantime, nice work.
Oh, thanks.
That was a lot of fun.
Well, the first episode, I gotta tell you, I was sick, right? And I troopered through it. I was really not feeling well, and so of course I felt a little bit off, but everybody seemed to have a good time, and that was important. Yesterday's adventure, I was feeling so much better, and I enjoyed it more just because I could engage a little bit more, and also I was beating the crap out of characters, or at least letting them beat the crap out of each other.
I think it's fair to say that you were letting them really take each other to task on that, because here's the thing. We'll get to this. There's this.
Oh yeah.
If you missed it, it's in the video section of our Twitch channel. You should check it out because it played out very interestingly.
Yep.
I wasn't here for the first week. But I watched it, and then I caught up in time for yesterday's stream where we finished that off. So the reason we have you on for Deconstructing Doomsday Dawn is because you wrote this chapter.
I did.
And so I want to get into some of that. I would like to talk about the nuts and bolts of what you put into that chapter,
sure,
and what you were hoping to get out of it. And then on top of that, I want to talk about how the stream actually played out.
Right.
We'll get into that. And then I believe you've got we can preview. Monday There's a update on Monday.
Oh yeah, there's 1.6 and update. Yeah.
And update, not a update.
Right.
There's a update on Monday, so we can preview that.
Yep.
And maybe do, I don't know, the tradition right about now is doing a top 5.
Oh, I was not prepared for that.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
Well, we'll
figure this out.
We'll figure this out.
And then after that, we're gonna we'll wrap up the show, and then we'll hang out with you fine folks at Twitch, and we'll do some Q&A after that. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I guess I could work that into my schedule.
Thank you, because that's what's on the outline. All right, so let's start off. The chapter is called Red Flags.
Red Flags.
And it is Chapter 6 of Doomsday Dawn, 6 of 7.
Right.
At this point, it's kind of known that the PCs are going to be a little bit higher level.
Yep. 14th level in this case.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, there are spoilers here. If you are looking forward to playing this, which you probably should, and after you do, you should fill out those surveys, which are open until the end of December. So you've got plenty of time.
Right.
Let's talk about this chapter.
Yeah.
Let's first of all, what was the purpose of the Doomsday Dawn Chapter 6?
So the purpose of Red Flags Chapter 6 was basically to present a high-level adventure that had a lot of skill use and social interaction, a lot of freeform role-playing to sort of take a look at exploration mode as not getting one place to another, but kind of trying to figure out what's going on. Mm-hmm. And so the setting for that is in the Shackles, in an island called the Smoker, where a pirate lord, her name is Wark, she's a Tengu, is having a party.
Of course.
And the PCs have found out that an item that they're looking for, this occult tome called the Last Theorem, is probably being hidden in his vaults, or her vaults.
Okay.
And so the characters, and they have this kind of cryptic letter from a person named K. They just know K. And of course they go to the party. There's a bunch of people with that starts the name K, and they have to figure out which K it is by first gathering information in town as much as they can, and then they come to the party and start, peeking around and everything else. And luckily, one of the players recognizes a bad guy, and that's kind of written into the adventure. They've had dealings in the past, so they know each other. They know at least their old strengths and weaknesses. And they're both known to be looking for this book, or at least the PCs at this point know that this the sorcerer, occult sorcerer, is looking for the last theorem.
Okay.
And then, so that whole first part of the thing is gathering information, talking to people. There's not, if combat is possible in that, but if you get into combat in that section, you're probably done with the adventure. You get just booted from the party, and there's no way you can get the vault unless, of course, your GM finds a good reason to do it.
Right. There's a door marked MacGuffin here. Somehow.
Right.
Let's go in.
And
Totally.
good GMs will always find a way.
Mm-hmm.
But the second sort of phase of the adventure is when the characters find out where Captain Work's hidden vault is, realize that Nacerion is going into it or is about to go into it, and they either go in looking for the last theorem. And it turns out that Tengus are very strange anyway, and Work is extremely strange, and her inner sanctum is just layers upon layers of traps.
Okay. Okay.
And
so really quickly, let's kind of go back just a little bit. For those that aren't familiar, what is a Tengu?
It's kind of a bird person.
Right.
Yeah.
It's got a jaunty hat.
This one.
Did they have a feather in there?
Well, she does. Yeah. And
yeah.
she's actually an albino Tengu, so she's all white feathered.
Okay.
Well, most of them are black feathered or whatever.
Yeah.
So they go into her bedroom, and her bed looks like a nest, and it's got all sorts of trinkets in it and everything else. And there's a trap that gave, and the PC's a little bit of trouble in there. The spectral lashes come out of this sort of floor. Luckily, they didn't get too curious and decide to touch any of the trinkets on the shelves because they're all laced with poison. Because right. Tengus are also, this Tengu in particular is a little bit paranoid. And they find out that there is a secret door in the wardrobe, a la Narnia, and
right.
And they keep on going in there, and then find basically Nacerion has this Goblin Butler that goes in with them, and they find the Goblin Butler dead in this other trap room where they have to figure out how to navigate these three portals that repel you if you don't go through the right one, and they shift.
I remember
all the time
how much time we spent, or the PCs spent, on that stream yesterday. They ended up somebody summoned a mole, like a rat or something.
Yeah, rat.
Somebody summoned a rat and kept making them go through the different portals, and it just so happened that they were going through the right one.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And
I was like, oh, that's awesome.
I guess we're good.
And then bring, nope, we're not. And they're like, oh, we need to think about this more. And what they don't realize, unless somebody used the right spell, which I believe the sorcerer had and just didn't think about doing it. There's some ways no reason to do it. Is Nacerion is hiding invisible using the disappearance spell in the corner, because he couldn't figure out how to get through the portal. He sent his butler hit the wrong one, gets flinged back of the wall on the spikes and dies.
That was the body that they found.
That was the body that they found, and he was just like, well, I've got these other guys coming in, maybe they'll figure it out and I can just follow them. And of course, as the PCs try to figure it out, they're having this conversation, and Nacerion's just like, he's just taking notes. He's like, oh, and did that work? Okay, so that means that portal is the one I want to go through, and he keeps on following them through as then they go into a chamber that has this basically steps on of stone on top of a very rough bit of ocean. And if you try to use the stone each stone a second time, it sinks. And so they've got to figure out how to navigate that. And the PCs actually ended up just casting Ice Wall and using it as a bridge, which I thought was fantastic. Yeah. There really some, those group of players, I've played with most of them before. Leo is the first time I played Leo, but really inventive use of spells. And I always enjoy inventive use of spells.
Yeah. Because you do a lunchtime game here.
Yeah, yes.
I know at least Sarah Marie
plays in my lunch game.
In that game. Yeah.
So I've played with Sarah Marie a lot. She's a lot of fun to play games with. So.
Yeah. It was a good group. It was a good group.
Yeah, it was a really good group. And then things go downhill.
So okay, So they get through that.
Yeah.
And that was a high tension, It was like, especially when the rogue could not be nimble enough to make it through. I'm like, they're in trouble. If the rogue can't make it, you're in trouble.
Well, Jason was rolling garbage. Just about the whole game.
Yeah.
I felt bad for him.
So they get through. Finally. Ice bridge. Great.
Yep.
And then they get to this room with a lot of mirrors.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And, I mean, I think that, first of all, when any RPG...
Yeah.
I mean, in real life, you go through a place with a lot of mirrors, you're like, oh, look at all the mirrors.
Yeah, look at all the mirrors.
In an RPG, you're automatically like, something's not right.
Why are all these mirrors in this huge room?
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that, and there was even a point where when Gabe, the rogue, was walking... Everyone was like, whoa, no, don't walk in front of it.
Right.
So he gave it a little bit of a berth. Like, he kind of widened around it.
Yep.
Still not enough.
No, he, it was almost, because I think the problem where Gabe got in trouble, and he was actually the second person to get zapped by the mirrors. And maybe we should back up a little bit.
Yes.
So these are, dark side mirrors? I modified the trap from the book a little bit, that each mirror only worked once. And I also modified it. They're not supposed to be able to be broken when there's a duplicate out. I'm getting kind of ahead of myself. But I modified it a little bit. But if you get too close to this mirror and peer in, you get sucked into the mirror and an evil version of you pops out. And of course, the evil version of you likes killing your friends
right.
Because why wouldn't
they?
And so everybody had a healthy skepticism about these mirrors.
Yes.
And I mean, and I put in, because finding mirror miniatures is a little bit difficult, and then I found out that I think it's our Reaper line does a bunch of mirror miniatures, and so I got 6 of them.
Yeah, there's some really good set like dungeon decorations.
Yeah, I like
in there. It's really cool.
I like having a nice table.
Yeah, and those tiles.
Oh,
I
the
really
flip
like
tiles.
those flip tiles. They're really cool.
Made by geniuses.
Yes.
Yeah. Stephen and Jason Engel, geniuses. But and so, and I consider that, like, if you come to that trap with a nice healthy skepticism, which when we play tested internally, like, the whole group was like, yeah, screw those mirrors. I'm taking wide berths. It's actually a pretty easy trap to get around.
Right.
And so I'm sitting at home and I'm painting these mirrors, and I'm like, I'm painting 6 of these mirrors, and this encounter is only going to last 2 minutes. But that is not what happened.
Yeah.
Leo's wizard decides, I'm going to go walk up in front of a mirror.
Oh, that's right. The wizard was first.
The wizard was
I
first.
I kept thinking the rogue was first.
No.
It was the wizard.
Yeah, the wizard is first. And then at that point, they're like, oh, these mirrors really suck. And that's when the skepticism really kicks in. So the problem is, Gabe's character is rogue. They're trying to stop the wizard from doing her worst. And I'm also giving Leo, like, helpful, because the evil version of Shaziri, right, knows what the mirrors do.
Right. And
so she, like, he positioned himself to one thing, and I moved his miniature, and I'm like, no, you really want to be here. And when I did that, they sort of told Gabe, but they pointed at one square. It's like, no, don't go there. That's bad. And he was like, oh yeah, that's a good point. And then just put it in another square that affects the mirror.
Still not good.
Still not good.
Yeah.
And so half of the PCs are evil doubles.
Yeah.
At that point.
And that's true. Yeah. 50% are bad.
And one's the wizard.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. And then once that happened, really, cutting to the chase, it really went fast after that. I mean, it was just them trying to fight the rogue.
Right.
Because the wizard pile of ashes.
Sarah Marie basically fingered to death the wizard.
Finger of death, boom, dead.
And then, so she's dust.
Yeah, and then it was kind of like, after a while, it was like, man, they're not going to beat this rogue.
No.
This rogue is really rough.
Well, Gabe made this dwarven rogue with a pile of hit points.
Yeah.
And it's the bard and the cleric,
Mm-hmm.
and the cleric is just chewed through a lot of her really good offensive spells to kill the wizard, and they're just like tink 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 tink.
So it ended with a quick wrap up. Sarah Marie, her goblin, got out of there. Kind of ran away, promised to come back for you.
Right.
We know that's not going to happen. No.
And then the dwarven rogue pushed the bard, Jason's bard, in front of a mirror too. And so
which was great. Like that took a long time.
It took a long time.
A lot of pushing and trying to position in front of the mirror. So that was good. And the stream didn't quite finish out the way that we would expect a normal playthrough to go, but we ran out of time and we just couldn't do anything, So there was a little bit of a
and that wasn't even like the big dangerous encounter at the end, right? So
I had a really cool image of a baddie that I just could not wait to put up, and then it never happened.
And what was funny is because there's spoilers, like as you go through this vault, that's really kind of difficult to crack. Mm-hmm. This Kraken. Comes up, and you've got to sort of fend off the Kraken and try to get the book and try to get out. Mm-hmm. And Nesirion shows up and casts reverse gravity, and it all just like you're just like, what the heck? So I mean, what starts as this nice little social encounter really kind of ends in this race to get the heck out of terrible things that are going on.
Right.
And Eric Mona was going to let me borrow his big Kraken miniature, but still can't seem to find it. So really? I had to do a stand-in for it, but I never ended up using it anyway. Yeah.
I actually just instinctively looked back to see if it was down here.
Yeah. Nope.
But no. Overall, it was a fun stream. It didn't go the way that we thought it was going to, but I thought it was really fun.
That's a great thing about role-playing games. They never go the way.
That's kind of it. You're right. Yep. So. Okay, and let's get into this. So we know that there is an update coming.
Yes.
On Monday.
1.6. 1.6.
Is that it right there?
Ooh.
Oh, enhance.
Ooh, look at.
And do you have some little previews pulled aside of what might be coming, or do you want to?
So you said something about a top 5.
We usually do a top 5. It's not super necessary, but my
have a top
good.
5.
Let's get the good camera. There it is. You even numbered them?
I even numbered them.
Not only did you surprise us and stick with the top 5 things coming at the preview on Monday,
right?
But you've got props.
Props?
Look at you. This is great. So
we're going to start with number 5. We're going to go Letterman old school with this, right?
Yes, which I still don't have a drum
I know.
on my soundboard.
I was hoping, Paul Schaefer would be here and everything else.
Oh, he couldn't make it.
The young kids are like, what are they talking about?
Could not make it.
Yeah.
Let's do a little pause just because some people are watching but not listening because they did not, understandably so, they did not want to have spoilers for the chapter.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're getting ready to do the top 5 preview of what's coming for 1.6 with Stephen Radney-MacFarland, senior designer.
Woohoo!
And for number 5, Stephen, take it away. Number 5.
Number 5. Stances. I'm gonna start off like really kind of small and minor.
An amuse-bouche.
An amuse-bouche, right? We're making a change to stances. Instead of having to only do a stance at the beginning of your turn, you can do it at any point in your turn. You can still only do one stance around, and it's got all of the other things. But we've loosened that up a little bit. So, how's that for
stances?
A minor one.
Right on my cup.
Now we have 4 more class options. And we're going to be talking probably most of the goodies I'm going to give you today are like this, but we'll start off with some interesting ones. Rangers are getting some first level picks on called Ranger Edges.
Okay.
There is the Flurry, the Precision, and the Stalker Edges. I'm not going to tell you all what that entails. You're going to have to read it on Monday, but it's exciting stuff. And rogues are going to have techniques. Mm-hmm. And so at first level, you can sort of pick and choose at least the basic sort of roguey attitude that you're going to go. And let's see, there's Finesse Striker, Brute Attack, and Scoundrel's Feint are the techniques. So
nice.
So those they're a lot of fun, and I think people will like them. And then you get to play test them, and if you don't like them, you can tell us why, and then we'll go, all right, well, back to the drawing board with that one.
Number 4, that was a good throw.
Yeah, that was a good throw.
It landed on my computer.
So that was number 4. 3! Monks are getting more key powers, and there's an update to Key Strike. So
okay.
It's we've powered up Key Strike a little bit, so you can hit harder with that fist. You can do some kung fu fighting. Nice. Over the place. I think people are going to be happy with a greater flexibility in what they can do with their key abilities and with spell points and stuff like that. So
right, kind of makes them a little bit more versatile.
Right.
Good. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Number 3.
Oh, that came back.
These are good throws. I'm
good
impressed.
throws. True, the Alchemist. There's.
It's upside down.
I know. Yeah. I did this afternoon.
It's fine.
All right.
Number 2, the Alchemist.
There's actually a lot of changes to the Alchemist.
Okay.
And so I'm going to run through some of the more exciting ones. But the first thing is we're taking Alchemy off the resonance system.
Okay.
Just bloop. Bang.
Interesting. Okay.
We're replacing that with what we call infused reagents, which is this. It's a reimagining of the currency in which alchemists can create things on the fly, either at the beginning of the day or with quick alchemy.
Right.
And so something that was probably a little more in the imagination of what people were, as people sort of grokked resonance, whether or not they liked it or not.
Right.
Like they're like, why is this with alchemy? And so we heard you, and so we've changed that up a bit. That's sort of a cosmetic change, a little bit, and it frees up the alchemists to use their resonance with magic items and stuff like that, which some people pointed out that they would like. But we've also, much like the Ranger and the Rogue and other classes, we've split up sort of the beginning bits that you can you focus on with the Alchemist. So we've got research fields. There's the Bomber. So if you really want to be, boom, 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 Bomber Alchemist, you take that. There's the Chirurgeon, who is more into healing and keeping the party up and everything else. The Mutagist, which we've also, because with some of these changes, we've made some changes to alchemical items. And so one of the first things is there is going to be lower level mutagens. So instead of it sitting at 4th level and you've got to wait till there to even use mutagens, you can start using them at an earlier level as alchemical items. And then there's the Poisoner, which is you go around poisoning people. Yeah. So you're life of the party sort of guy.
Fun.
Right. So woo.
I like that one. That was good.
Yeah, that one was the best so far. But it's not the number 1.
But now let's get to the number 1.
Number 1. This one's a doozy.
This is the
There's a reason why it's number 1, and that's the Paladin.
The Paladin. Okay.
The Paladin.
Okay.
We're getting rid of the Paladin. No more Paladins. We've decided people just don't like them.
You can't even start with that. You're gonna make the chat burst into flames.
There's just anti-Paladins more.
It's
Anti-Paladins are the best. Everybody's just going to be evil. We have made a change to the Paladin where now you can be any good alignment.
Okay.
With the Paladin. And of course, doing that is a little bit tricky because you've got the Paladin's code, and and so in a lot of ways, a lawful good paladin is going to have a slightly different code than, let's say, a chaotic good
paladin. Yeah.
And so there's basically 3 subtypes of paladins based on the alignment. There's the defender, which is your standard lawful good paladin, has aspects of their paladin code, which talks to law and defense of innocence and stuff like that. There's the Redeemer, which is the neutral good paladin, and the Redeemer is all about redeeming lost souls and spreading good in that sort of way. And the Liberator, which is the chaotic good one, and they are fighting the man for freeing good people everywhere.
Right.
And so it's an exciting direction that the paladins take. I'm like, ever since, even the old days of when I started role-playing games, I'm like, why does it have to be lawful good? I think you could have, these kind of characters are good. And as we've moved through the years, a lot of games have gone in that direction.
Absolutely.
And so, we've decided it's a play test at the very least. Give it a shot. And make this change to the Paladin and see if people dig it.
Yeah.
And what they like about it, what they don't like about it. I think it's really well put together and very smart. And I hope everybody enjoys playing their non-lawful good Paladins and their lawful good Paladins.
Yeah, kind of a little. These throws are legit, Stephen. You're really making it happen. All right, well that's good. That's a preview of what's coming. That's not everything that's coming, but it's a nice preview of what's happening.
No, in fact, every single class is getting loving somewhere in this whole thing. So that's sort of some of the things I guess I'm more excited for, and I think that other people will be very excited about. But there's a lot more. I mean, before we get to the last chapter of the playtest, this is our big way to showcase new ideas based on feedback by the fans, not only through the surveys but through message boards and everything else. Which it's all like.
Which I'm sure the message boards are going to be nice and calm after the. The Paladin announcement, especially, could possibly go wrong.
Yeah, it's Friday. Did you happen to?
Anyway, no, but I think it's gonna be good. And are we gonna be getting any more updates?
There will. I mean, a lot of it depends on even as because as we head over to the last chapter of the playtest, we realize that a lot of people who want to participate in the playtest, but for various reasons, haven't been able to do it or are doing it at a slower rate, and so, of course. All of the surveys and everything else are going to be open until the end of the year, and we do realize that sometimes on Thanksgiving breaks and Christmas breaks and stuff like that, when people go home to their friends or just have more time on their hands, we're probably going to get a good influx of play in there as well. So that does give us some opportunities to at least share new ideas or directions that we think we're going to go into. But it does sort of close our avenue of playtest this and let us know before we have to start making hard decisions on it.
Yeah.
So I do think you'll see one or two minor updates. Probably not an update of this size in magnitude. Yeah. This is a big one because it touches every class, which means everybody who's playing, except for GMs, of course, or people who just strictly GM, their characters are going to change in some way. In almost all cases, you get new options. You get new things that you can try out, and to help customize your character and make the character that you really want to play within the playtest. There will probably be more updates, but there will not of this magnitude.
Right.
I think this is the last big one.
Is there any chance that we could get that people would find the survey deadline extended at all? We talked about having a crystal ball before. Yeah. There's always reasons why we would want that survey extended. But yeah, if there's a good reason to extend a survey, I'm sure my bosses will tell me that there's a good reason and they'll do it. Yeah. But I have no idea. Yeah, I mean, especially I guess it depends on overall how many are we seeing back and how many do we think are still out there and
exactly,
all of that sort of thing. So
all
right, good. And then do we have any survey data to go through or anything like that?
No, we don't really have that. I mean, this is something that we knew was going to happen a little bit. The playtest it goes at a pretty fast pace, right? I mean, if you think about your normal work week and how much time that you have, maybe you get to play once a week, if that. And we all know how hard it is to get all your friends in one room at a period of time. So we know that a lot of people are moving at a slower rate than the way we're releasing the adventures and the live plays and everything else.
Right.
And so because of that, that survey data also tends to slow down the deeper you get into the playtest. And we, and me personally especially, I don't like looking at survey data until it reaches a critical point.
Right.
Like if I've only got 50 surveys in, that in a lot of ways that's just junk to me. It's all like, it's got to simmer above that point where it's in the hundreds, if not the thousands, and then it's all like, okay, I can kind of take a look at that. The big exception to that is when they have the opportunity in the survey to give their opinion on something.
Right.
That's a little bit different, but it's just as far as raw numbers go. Like, you can take a look at that and see what people are commenting on certain sort of things, and just get glimmers of either interesting ideas or problems that people are having with the playtest, or where the playtest is succeeding, and stuff like that. But as far as the number crunching of surveys go, I have not even I figured I'm not even taking a look at the survey of this adventure probably for another 2 weeks. Not only because I'm busy with a lot of projects, but it's all like, well, by then hopefully it'll reach that that magic threshold where the numbers start to coalesce.
Right. Is survey data slowing down, or is it just that you like to get it to a certain point?
I would say I like to get it to a certain point. And it's not that survey data is slowing down. It's we have a bunch of surveys now. Like once upon a time when you only had 1 or 2 or 3 surveys out,
that's true. Yeah.
right? Everything was focused and everybody was doing that. But now when you go into the Survey Monkey, because we're asking a lot of questions, there's a lot there. And so we realize that sometimes it can be daunting as you look at that and it's like, oh, I'll do that this weekend. Right. Or I'll do this one now and come back and do this and everything else. And so it's not really it's slowing down, it's just scattering because we've got a lot of questions and we want folks' opinions.
Right. So it's probably more, before it was laser focused, this one thing, and now it's just now
it's just a sea of surveys. It's like, woo!
All right then. Let's do this then. I'm gonna wrap up the show.
Okay.
And then we'll stay and do some Q&A.
Sounds good.
What do we think about that?
I've just got time on my hands, Dan. That old Styx song.
Thank you so much for joining me, Steven.
Oh, thanks for having me.
In the meantime, thank you so much for joining us, everybody. If you liked the show, feel free to subscribe to us, hit the bell notification button, give us the thumbs up. It really helps us a lot. We'll see you back next week. If you'd like to be a part of the Q&A that we're about to start right now, watch us on Twitch. We do this every Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific. Twitch.tv/official Paizo. It's a very long word, but there it is.
Right, yeah, there you go.
And so, for Paizo and for Stephen Radney-MacFarland and for me, your old pal Dan, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you again next week. Bye.
Bye, kids.
We're going to do main cam. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye.